But you are opposed to the eating of sugar, aren't you? Asked Kasim while in this conversation from Jagan, right? That's kind of an interesting question. But you opposed to, but you are opposed to, like you are against eating sugar. As a matter of fact, you don't eat sugar, right? You cut off sugar in your life. But why are you selling sugary products to the people in Malgudi, right? So Jagan took time to digest. I mean, like Jagan took a little time to digest means completely understand this contradiction before saying. But Jagan didn't immediately jump and answer to that question. He took a while just to digest means totally uh, comprehend this contradiction. Understand or totally digest means like uh, take control of this contradiction. What is a contradiction? The contradiction here, the two opposite things, right? Two unparalleled things here. I mean, like contradiction is something, a statement or a situation where opposite things appear, comes to the surface. Right here, what is a contradiction? Okay, if Jagan is not eating sweets as a person, why is he selling sweets? There's a contradiction there. Why do you sell something that you personally don't consume, that you think is bad to health, but you do it as a business? You sell it to people and get a profit. I mean, like how many professions are there? Just like these kind of contradictions, right? Have contradictions. Right. Okay. Before saying before saying anything, he immediately say, Jagan immediately balanced this question from Kasim, saying, "I see no connection. What's the relevant of it to this context right now? If others want to eat sweets, they must have the purest ones. This is the deal. I'm a vendor. I'm a seller. Okay, if others want to eat sweets, if anyone want to eat sweets, they have to have the purest ones. I mean, like they have to have the good quality ones, right? That is all. I am thinking particularly of children and poor people, right? I am thinking about poor people and right poor children. So that's why I'm reducing the price. That's what is in my mind, right? So they also can afford, but still they can afford pure stuff, right? Pure stuff. So that's what Jagan says, right? Jagan, when Kasin asks a fundamental kind of question, Jagan says, no, I'm not concerned about it, right? What I'm concerned about it is just people get the good quality stuff. I Whether I eat it or doesn't eat it is not the question here. I'm a businessman. I do a business, right? Right. So, as a business person, when I'm doing a business, my product or what I do has to have standards. And at the same time, I like if poor people and poor boy, I mean, like poor children and poor people can afford it, because for the moment it's little expensive, right? So that's what I'm concerned about, not what you think, right? In other words, right? What about you, Shah? The other asked testingly. So what about you, Shah? Means like what happens to your profit then? So if you are doing this for poor people and poor children, so what happens to your profit? I have had enough. I mean, like I all this time, right? For some time now, I have doing this shop for a considerable time, and I have enough profit. I have enough money. I have amassed enough profit from this business, right? So far, Jagan said he doesn't say the amount, he doesn't say how much, but he says like I have money. I have earned money. That's enough for me, right? The cousin sought further explanation. Now, cousin is very curious. Cousin is very inquisitive. Cousin want to dig deep, find out details. What's going on? Why is this man having these kind of thoughts, right? Why this shrewd businessman, smart businessman having this kind of a deviation, right? The cousin sought furthest explanation like someone scrutinizing and saying a tricky diplomatic statement. Enough of what? Yeah, Pastor. When Jagan said like I had enough, cousin asked enough of what? What are you enough of? What are you satisfied of? Are you enough of money? Are you enough of doing this thing? As if like Kasim further explanations. Kasim wanted by that question just to derive more and more information, further explanation, like someone scrutinizing. Scrutinizing means someone is just, looking into something very carefully. Scrutinizing, I mean, like just to check, right? And assaying here would be analyzing. Analyze, if you don't know, just underline, right? As always, just write down the hard word. Assaying means analyzing a tricky diplomatic statement. I mean, like this diplomatic statement, this kind of a, diplomatic statement means a statement that has so many levels to it, right? I mean, like it doesn't say directly, but indirectly, a lot of things are inside it. What is the diplomatic statement here? I have had enough, right? So it's a diplomatic statement. You get it, right? In other words, when I say like I had enough, right? Jay can say I had enough. I mean, like there are so many unsaid things inside this. Like, why are you saying these things to me? Like, what are you enough of? Right? What is going on? Why would you say something like that? Right? So a lot of hiding behind this statement. Right? There's a other side to this question. So that's the other side to this statement. So that's why immediately Jagan asked, like, enough of what? Sorry, Kasin asked, enough of what? Right? He asked. Of everything. Jagan said. The cousin looked appropriately serious and gloomy. Now, with hearing the answer, enough of what? Jagan says, enough of everything. In other words, I'm tired of everything. I'm exhausted of everything. I mean, like, I'm depressed of everything. What is this everything? Clearly, his domestic affairs. This clearly, Mal is hunting him, and Jagan, Grace following him, pursuing him. This constant and ceaseless, right? Asking or importuning, just take part in this. Sometimes it's just lurking behind, sometimes it's threatening, right? And Jagan have to pretend, and Jagan have to act secretly in his own house, right? Sometimes his behavior patterns have changed, his thinking patterns have changed, right? So these are the underlying situations, right? So it's just like said in these words, of everything. I'm enough of everything, said Jagan. The cousin looked at this statement appropriately serious and gloomy. Now, cousin took this statement seriously. Yeah, there can be something here, right? He's not just talking whimsical ideas. He's not just talking, his thoughts. There are some connection to the way he's thinking. Cousin immediately says this, right? If you are thinking of retiring from the business, I'm sure someone will be willing to take it over and run it. Says cousin, right? To Jagan, right? Okay. Now, if you are tired, right? If you want to retire from the business, I think someone will, on behalf of you, willing to take the business and run it for you. Now, who are the candidates who can do that? Either Mali, right? If Jagan retires, who can do this? Think. Either Mali, right? Mali is not willing to do that. Or who else? The other candidate, right? We don't know. Maybe Kasim himself, right? Or anyway, we leave. Oh, it is not so easy, Jagan said. No. That's not that's easy, right? It's not that I'm resigning and I'm retiring and someone else is doing the job. Jagan said. I told Mali so this morning, and he said, and Jagan gives the point, right? Jagan recites start. He wanted to say what happened in the morning. And I told Mali this morning, and he said, I told Mali just to take the business and do it for yourself if you want to, right? And he said, blanks, dot. There are these inverted commas, right? So what does it mean? He doesn't complete the sentences. He doesn't say to Kasim what Mali said, right? About the business, about the idea. He remains silent. Now Jagan remains silent. The recollection of the scene he felt would overwhelm him, and he might break down, and it would be silly to be seen in tears while he was occupying the throne. the recollection of the scene, I mean, recalling the scene, reminding the scene. If you have to tell the scene to Qasim, he have to remind the scene. I mean, he have to remember, right, the scene. He don't want to remember, in other words. He don't want to recall, in other words. Jagan don't want to visit that moment. The Mali said nasty things about this business, right? So then the recollection of the scene, okay, if he has to complete these sentences, he have to go back to the past and remember that and say these things. When he say these things, you know the scene will come to his mind. So the recollection of the scene Jagan felt, would overwhelm him in a sense, like would put him in a situation where lot of enormous amount of emotions will flood him, overwhelm him. I mean, like he become desperate. There's so much to him, too much to him, right? They felt he would overwhelm him. He might break down, and it would be silly to be seen in tears while he was occupying the throne. What happened is, like, when you are too emotional, when one is too emotional, for some reasons, tears try to roll out from their eyes. So he will be little looking sentimental there, not sentimental. Actually, he will be a little bit disturbing and just like looking silly, right? While saying these things, and seen in tears while he was occupying the throne. Now it's little bit weird when he's sitting in this very powerful chair, which is the throne, right? In his own shop where he's the boss, and it's not good for a boss just to cry, right? Recalling something happened in the morning, a conversation between his son and him, that son doesn't want to be a doesn't want to carry on doing this shop, right? He never planned. I mean, like, he doesn't like at all the idea of being a sweet meat vendor, right? Mali doesn't want it, but and he said even something negative about it, right? Actually, the idea here is Jagan is little belittled. Jagan is kind of I mean, like, his pride, his sense of self importance was hurt. He took pride in his job. He took pride in his being a vendor of sweets. But for Mali clearly, right? Mali, without any consideration at all, right, despised and said something that disdainfully, condescendingly, so that hurt Jagan's feelings. And recalling those things can make Jagan cry, right? If he's going to say these things to Qasim, and he don't want to cry in his own shop when he was sitting in this powerful chair, right? That's the idea on his throne, right? So he had a mental picture of himself standing like a ragged petitioner in the presence of Mali and the Chinese girl, being sneered at for his business of a lifetime, a business that had provided money for Mali to fly to America and do all sort of things there. There you go. Now, Jagan had a mental picture of himself standing. And now Jagan, when remembering what happened in the morning, had this visual image of, right, him standing here, standing in front of like a ragged petitioner. Like a ragged petitioner means opposer, kind of a accused, kind of a victim here, right? A wrongdoer, in other words. Like, just like a ragged wrongdoer. It's like a, in other words, like, it's like a, how could I put this? I mean, like a useless kind of a unimportant wrongdoer in the presence of Mali and this Chinese girl this morning, being sneered, being looked down, right? Being sneered, being laughed, feeling not important in inside himself, right? For his business of a lifetime. I mean, like, he did this for a long time. He was a long time businessman in Malgudi as the sweetmeat vendor. And now see, they are not even giving appropriate respect for him, right? Respect for his job. And think, right? Business that had provided the money for Mali to fly America and do all sort of things there. I mean, like, where did Mali get the money to go to America in the first place? It's his job. Where does Mali got the money just to buy his tickets and everything? His job. Where did Mali find out, just to get the costumes and everything? that required all the requirements, right, just to go to America. In other words, Mali's American dream, just going to American dream, came into life because of Jagan's job. Jagan's job provided the money that Mali needed to accomplish his dream, accomplish his tour, just to America, just to learn, right? I mean, like, unless how could even Mali go to America in the first place, right? And how can he talk to him? Like, how can he talk to a business that, provided his father this means of money, right, to help his dream, to help Mali's dream, right? And now he's just like in a negative way, right? Mahali is just telling nasty things or just inappropriate things about the father's business, as if it's just like a unreputable or just useless, or just in other words, it's just like a traditional kind of a trade. Okay, that's the idea here. Uh, Fly to America, do all sort of things there. Vendor of sweetmeats, there you go, just like vendor of sweetmeats, right? Indeed, Jagan became aware of the cousin waiting for his reply and said quickly he was not interested in vending sweets. Now he's finishing the sentence he started, right? This morning he said there was dot dot dots. He was thinking these things inside Jagan's mind for a while, and now he finished the sentence. He was not interested in vending sweets. I mean, he's not interested in selling sweetmeats, right? So just to try to understand this, right? For example, right? Uh, some people think some jobs are not up to their standards, not up to their status quo. For example, like maybe right? We'll change the context for a while. Imagine there's a son, right? Just like him, who is a son of a fishmonger, who has gone abroad and got a degree, right? Comes to comes to his own land, right? කියන්නේ දැන් අපි සිංහලෙන් කියනවා දැන් මාළුකාරයෙක්ගේ පුතෙක් ඉන්නකොට දැන් ටෝලර් එකක ගිහිල්ලා බහුදින යාත්‍රාවක් ගිහිල්ලා මාළු ගොඩක් අල්ලලා ලොකු සල්ලියක් හොයන කෙනෙක් වුණත් ඒ වෘත්තියේ ඉන්නකොට මාළුකාරයෙක් නේ. එහෙමනේ අපි කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන්. මාළුකාරය කියලා කියන්නේ බෝට්ටුවක් අයිති මිනිස්සයත් මාළුකාරයෙක්, ගෙදරට ඇවිල්ලා මාළු විකුණන මිනිස්සයත් මාළුකාරයෙක්. අපි ඒක වෙනස් විදියට ඒක දකින්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට මේ මාළුකාරය කියන වචනේ ඇතුලේ මාළුකාරය, කිරිකාරය, පාංකාරය, චූම්පාංකාරය, right? There's kind of you have to notice this. There's a kind of a negativeness, right? I mean, like, it's not socially accepted. Of course, it's socially accepted. I mean, like, this status quo is not sometimes given to certain jobs, right? Like as well as a doctor, engineer, lawyer, accountant, right, teacher, philosopher, things like that, university lecturer, right, things like that. I mean, like architectures, those professions seems to have a kind of a status quo, kind of reputation, right? But maybe if you think, right, that person who we call this Malukarya, who has a boat, like a trawler, right, just amassed a huge wealth. Okay, maybe, right? He has money, and because his job, right? He has some employees, and he's a very established person, maybe, right? But when that son comes from abroad, and right, he want to start a business, and his father says like, okay, I don't have that much money. If you want to do my business, කොල්ල ඉගෙනගෙන ආවට පස්සේ කියනවා තාත්තා කියන්න පුළුවන් පුතා මගේ බිස්නස් ටික කරගෙන යන්න. බිස්නස් එක මොකද්ද? මාළු විකුණන එක, right? So but then the son maybe suddenly kind of feel deep, I mean, like belittled, or kind of a disdain, a kind of a, he may feel like his pride hurt, right? He doesn't want to engage in these kind of things, right? Maybe that's why he said that's maybe the reason, one reason, right? Mali said, right, he didn't want to follow up the father's profession. I think I gave this example just to make you particularly clear, right? Because when in our context, when we think like being a sweet meat vendor, right, doesn't make that much a difference, right? So we think like, what's the problem with Mali? Why can't Mali do this thing? But with this example I gave you, you can clearly see there's a division, right? Maybe that's in that culture, in the Indian socio-economic cultural background, right? This may be the underlying dynamics here, right? That Mali says. In the other word, like Mali wants to maintain. Mali has high hopes, right? Mali always have high hopes. Mali always just want to do something bigger, right? Something established. He want to maintain that gentleman kind of a businessman kind of a image. So he tried to maintain that image. And this sweet meat shop is not work for him, right? It's not the thing that he is looking after. It's not the thing that he is going after, right? That is not the kind of business uh, that he want to establish to maintain his businessman kind of persona, right? So those are the things you have to be very careful, right? So he was not interested when he said Jagan, for, but the I mean the underlying, the most humorous thing here is all this money for Mali's education was taken from this business, father's business, right? If he didn't have this business in the first place, Mali can't even go to America, right? Right. The cousin felt that this was the time to sound sympathetic and said, now listening to this, cousin immediately noticed like now he can't make his humorous statement. Now it's not the time to make a joke. He immediately changed his face, right? He immediately changed his appearance, like looking sound sympathetic and said, sound merciful, kind of sound felt understanding about Jagan's situation and said these things. What better income could one have? But you see, these ideas are different, as you know, right? And he immediately said, Kasim immediately says, yes, what better income could one have? I mean, like, what else is a good business in Malgudi itself, right? I mean, like, Kasim is saying this to Jagan, you have one of the best businesses in Malgudi. I mean, like, people love this, people buy this, there's always a demand for it. In other words, it's a money generating good business, it's a profitable business. What else? What kind of other businesses there are in Malgudi like this, right? But you see, but don't you understand, Jagan? His ideas are different. Mali's ideas are little different, as you know, right? Says Jagan. Sorry, Jay says cousin balancing Jagan and Mali, right? Money is an evil. We'll take highlight this thing, right? Just like as I have done, right? It's important. Money is an evil, Jagan said. Money is some kind of a thing, commodity that has some kind of evilness, some kind of dark side to it, right? Money is an evil, Jagan said, uttering an often repeated sentiment. We should all be happier without it. It is enough if an activity goes on self supported. No need to earn money. No need to earn money. Captain, he shouted, who are those boys? What do they want? Right. Uh, Now, see how R.K. Narayan portrayed this situation, right? Money is an evil. Money is a bad thing. Money is not a bad thing. Actually, what he says is money has a dark side, right? So money is evil. Jagan said, saying an often repeated sentiment. This is a saying that so many people have said so many times, right? Not this is not the first time someone says this thing, and this is not a genuine idea in the first place. This idea was there since the money was invented by someone, right? As a means of as a means of exchanging these words, this utterance, this sentiment was there in the world, uttering an often repeated sentiment. We should all be happier without it. We should all be happy without money. If there's no money in this world, we are happy. We humans will be more happy than this. It is enough if an activity goes on self supported. No need to earn money. No need to earn money. It's enough if an activity goes on self supported. I mean, like, if according to Jagan, it's good if an activity goes self-supported means without making a profit. If things roll on in a society, if things carry on in a society, that's enough, says, right? For example, right? Maybe it's like this, right? How can you understand this thing? Okay, right. So imagine you go to a shop, right? You are hungry. You want to buy a loaf of bread. Okay, you buy a loaf of bread, but instead of giving money, if you don't have money, right? Imagine you work for the shop, like maybe 30 minutes, and at the end of the 30 minutes, you get a loaf of bread and you come out, right? So there's no exchange of money. So you gave up your what you call that, your labor to the shop owner, and the shop owner, as the exchange of your labor, gave a loaf of bread for you. In other words, I mean, like, this is going to the past, right? This is going to the past. Today is a modern society. That's why we have money. In old days, before money was invented, the real life was like that. We call this barter system, right? Before, even like a barter system means you are exchanging some things, right? So something, for example, like okay, if you are making cheese, right, and I may making bread, right? I don't make cheese, okay, and you are making cheese. You are the one who making cheese. Just try to understand this thing, right? Barter system, and I am the one who has bread, but I can't eat bread. I mean, like, without cheese, and you can't eat cheese as the breakfast. Okay, so you come to me, and I come. Oh, I come to you. I bring my bread. I give a loaf of bread to you, and you give a reasonable amount of cheese for me. I mean, like, I give you what I have, and you give me what I don't have. So in that way, you also have your breakfast with bread and cheese. I also have my breakfast with bread and cheese, right? That's the barter system. So we don't need money just for a system like this to carry on, right? But there's a problem, right? When it comes to the proportions and everything. That's why there's a complexities, right? Uh, that's why people invented money in the first place. Now Jagan thinks, like, if we go to this system like exchanging, so that's the idea here, right? If it is enough for an activity goes on self-supported, if activity goes like this, right? No need to earn money. What is the purpose of earning money, right? You don't have to earn money. You can only go on with the products, right? And at the same time, he shouts to the captain there in front, right? Captain, he shouted, who are those boys? What do they want? Immediately, right? While he's saying money is unimportant, when boys are watching at the glass displays, right, where they have nice, different, interesting, alluring sweets, Jagan immediately says just to chase away the boys. Do you see the irony here, right? In other words, right, he don't even give things freely so far, right? I will send them away, sir, says the captain. No, no, no. Tell the boy at the counter to give them each a packet and then send them away. Wow. Jagan have changed. Jagan never did this before. Now Jagan instructed the boy, little boy who collect the cash in the front, tell the boy at the counter to give them each packet and send them away. I mean, like, give these boys who's looking at my shop, looking at my sweets displays, a packet of sweets and then send them away. Jagan never did that before, right? They may not have the money, says the other person, right? They may not have, probably a cousin, right? They may not have the money. Who cares? I can afford to give away. Boy, I like, who cares? The beast boys doesn't have money, right? I can afford means I am a rich man. I can just give things freely if I want to. Right? Boy, he shouted from his throne. Treat those children. Treat those children is give something for these children. The children got their sweets and went away greatly surprised. I mean, like, the children now suddenly got the sweets, right? Something they are totally unexpected, totally surprised, greatly surprised, right? අම්මට මේ මොකද්ද මේ අද වුනේ, right? Just like Natasha, okay, just like today suddenly they got something, right? They were greatly surprised, like they were like, what, right? Can't believe it for themselves, right? uh, if now the other people says, right, probably, uh, if those boys go out and tell others, you will be mobbed and unable to leave this place, right? And immediately, probably, uh, the counter, the opposite idea here is I mean, probably Kasim said this, right? If those boys go out and tell others, his cousin says, right? Imagine these boys taking these free sweets and tell others, right? You will be mobbed. I mean, you will be mobbed means you'll be almost robbed, right? Or you will be circled here, seized here, right? And unable to leave this place. I mean, like a huge crowd will come and just encircle you, right? Imagine, right? These boys and go and say to others, right? Hey, අන්න අතන මේ දන්සලා කන්න දෙනවා නිකන් බඩු කියපු ගමන් ඉතින් මුළු මල් කුටියෙම ඉන්න සෙට් එක ඇවිල්ලා ජේකන් කඩේ වට්ටක් දාලා කො අපිටත් දෙන්න I mean, like Jagan will be in a such a mess, right? That's what the idea is, right? We will manage, don't worry, said Jagan. Okay, don't worry, calm down, right? Said Jagan to Kasim. In a day or two, changes are coming. Very few days, right? Things will be changing here. I'm going to change my business model, in other words, right? You will see. You will also be surprised. I'm going to give you a genuine surprise to Malgudi, right? In other words, I'm going to turn the business like upside down, right? He's going to topsy-turvy, right? Away. So now the cousin looked scared and said, now with this idea, cousin actually felt like, okay, now this guy is not joking, there's something in it. එනකොට නම් හරියන්නේ නැහැ. He knew it, scared and said, don't be hasty. Go on a pilgrimage to the temples and bathe in the sacred rivers. I will mind the shop if you like while you are away. I mean, like Kasim immediately jumps and says, right, to Jagan, because this is the dialogue between Kasim and Jagan all this time, right? He says, don't be hasty, don't rush, don't be hasty, kalabala wenna epa, right? Go on a pilgrimage, podak vandana gamana kiyanna, right? Go to the temples and bathe in the sacred rivers. I mean, like, why is the idea here? Go to the temples and bathe in the sacred rivers means go change your mind, have some freedom, have some free air. Don't be hasty, you are so rushed, right? Your head is little cluttered at this moment. Go. පොඩ්ඩක් ඔළුව අවුල්නේ, ඔළුවෙන් ගින්දරනේ තියෙන්නේ, පොඩ්ඩක් ගඟේ ගිහිල්ලා නාන්න, රේඩියේටර් එක කූල් කරගන්න ගිහිල්ලා පොඩ්ඩක්, right? In other words, right, just calm down, right? මේ කොහොම රත් වෙලා ඉන්න එපා, පොඩ්ඩක් ගඟේ බහැලා ඔය ගිනියම පොඩ්ඩක් නිවා ගන්න, right? ඔහොම decisions ගන්න බෑ business වල. පොඩ්ඩක් cool down වෙන්න, right? Pilgrimage, go for a trip. In other words, pilgrimage is like a visiting these religious places, right? These are old people. Those old people, I mean, like, just like to go to sacred places, right? That's in Hinduism, right? It's considered kind of virtue, right? So you understand, and bathe in the sacred rivers. I will, once you go, right, if you are concerned about this business, I'll manage it for a while till you go. I said Kasim. It's not a big deal for Kasim, right? Just to manage the business. I mean, he knows the functions and everything. The only thing is, when he do the business, he have to stay in the shop, right? He can't go places, right? But he says, like, okay, I'll do it for you. Go, just calm down, right? You are little, I mean, like, unsettled. That's what Kasim feels, right? I will tell you when I'm ready, said Jagan, right? Jagan didn't want to go in a pilgrimage or anything. But when Kasim said, like, I will mind the job, I will mind the shop, right? Or Jagan simply says, I'm not interested on going on trip or pilgrimage at this moment. At the same time, I'm not interested in giving the shop to you as well. cousin, right? But if I'm ready for that such a thing, I'll let you know. For the moment, I'm not ready. That's the idea, right? The boy from the front stall now brought in the bronze jug. The day is ending. Ending is near, right? Normally, cousin comes from 4:30, right? Anyway, now the bronze jug is coming with the cash. The cousin who usually timed his departure at this point got up but did not leave. Curious to know whether Jagan would accept the cash or just throw it out. I mean, like in a very humorous way, right? In a very ironical way. Uh, R.K. Narayan is just, making this cousin, right? Making this character. Cousin normally when the cash comes, other days just leave the place. He doesn't say stay, right? Because Jagan doesn't want to show the cash at all to cousin. That's a very secret part. There are certain secret things that Jagan, I told you previously, right? Doesn't want to share with other people. Like when he's in puja room, when he's counting the cash, things like that, right? Are very personal things, right? And now cousin stood up just to ask him to leave, but didn't go. As if just watching, right? What is Jagan going to do with this cash jug? I mean, as a bronze jug with the cash, right? Whether he will accept it, whether he'll take it, or whether he will throw the jug away. I mean, like now Jagan is in a giving mode, right? And Jagan නිකන් මේ නත්තල්සිය වගේනේ දැන් මේ දේවල් නිකන් දෙනවා ඉච්චර සල්ලි නරකයි කියනවා මනින් සිවිල් කියනවා දැන් කසින් බලන් ඉන්නවා කෑෂ් ටිකත් විසි කරයිද කෑෂ් ටික බෙදලා දායිද right අර නිකන් අර you know right when some people go to කතරගම right අර දැකලා තියෙනවනේ සිංගල්නොන්ට සල්ලි බෙදනවනේ කෑෂ් නිකන් විසි කරනවා මයන් අර කරන්න මිටි බැද්ද බැද්ද විසි කරනවා අවුල ගනිලා කියලා වගේ just like something like that now cousin is like watching like what is he going to do with this cash right now, right? So it's a humorous situation. I mean, like we all feel alleviated. We all feel like it's a funny situation, right? Jagan pulled out the drawer. Did he throw the cash or did he give the cash to anyone? No, he pulled the drawer as usual, right? Spread the folded towel to deaden the noise as usual. He put the towel there to muffle or and deaden the noise, the clank, right, of the metal, and folded towel to cascade deaden the noise in the noise of the coins cascading down. Cascading means falling down. Waterfalls are cascading down from a top to bottom. If someone flows, it's another word for flowing. Cascading down. Now imagine the cash is flowing right from the jug, bronze jug, to the drawer, cascading like a waterfall, right? Cascading down. Looked up at the cousin and said, he immediately looks to the cousin and said, tonight and tomorrow I will have to do a lot of reckoning and concentration. Today and tomorrow I'm going to do a lot of reckoning means calculation. I'm going to go problem solving, reckoning, and concentration means I'm going to focus a lot and do a lot of calculations today and tomorrow. In other words, I'm going to change. I'm going to introduce a change, right? I have left things to drift too long. And I have left things to drift too long means I have left things to behave on its own for so long. I didn't take control of certain things so long. Now I'm going to make things tight. That's it. I have left things without attending for so long. Drift too long. The cousin worrying where these hints were leading, and cousin had no idea what is this man talking about. What is this drifting too long? What is this reckoning? What is this concentration? What is he up to? මේ මොන ඩෙංගා නැටිල්ලක් නටන්නද ජේගන් එන්නේ කියලා කසින්ට හිතා ගන්න බෑ with these words, right? කරනොත් තොවිලයක් ඇති ඉස්සරහට කියලා කසින්ට හිතනවාද, right? The cousin worrying where these hints were leading said the peacemaker, like always cousin, balances things, right? When things are extreme, cousin is the peacemaker and he balances he makes a bridge between two, right? Was I will speak to Mali. Yes, cousin immediately knew this is a problem between the father and the son, right? This is because of Mali's behavior. This father is going to act in a very surprising, very unacceptable, business-like, unprofessional, business-like way now. I mean, like he doesn't know what he's going to do, but cousin knew there's something here. Now, it's not the regular outcome, right? Something is going to happen, right? In other words, it's like a volcano. You see the signs of this volcano. You see the dusts, you see the clouds, right? The kind of gray clouds. You see some, hear some puffs. You know, sooner or later, a volcano is going to erupt, right? So some symptoms are here. Cousin immediately noticed them, and cousin know the reason is should be Mali. And cousin says to Jagan, I will speak to Mali. I know I can talk to him, even to that girl, Grace. She is so trusting. Cousin says, okay, okay. If there's anything, just let me know. I'll speak to Mali. I'll speak to Grace, right? I'll do it for you. It's not the first time he has done it. For many times he has done it, right? So there's nothing surprising. And even Grace is good. Cousin says, right? She's so trusting, means you can speak with Grace. You can have a good conversation with Grace, right? Normally with women, right? Especially in this context, right? It's a little hard for a man just to make a conversation. But here it's different, right? It's very easy, like very trusting, very easy just to make a conversation. And cousin says, okay, I can talk to Mali if you want, right? By all means, speak on him, speak to him in any matter you like, right? Okay, if you want to speak to Mali, go and speak to Mali. Malta kata කරනවා නම් ගිහින් කතා කරන්න Mali. ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ, right? Jagan said, and added with firmness, but said this line too. Added with firmness means said with stressing these lines, but not on my behalf. මේ මාව නියෝජනය කරලා මාල්ට කතා කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ ඔයා, right? මාව නියෝජනය ඔයාට ඕන වගේ මාල්ට කතා කරන්න. Whatever you want. Just keep me out of it. I don't want to take part, right? I don't want you to talk about me or about my situation with Mali or Greece. That's out of the context, right? It's not in. So that's the end of chapter 6. So what we find, and the important question is, why is Jagan behaving this way? Why is Jagan going to do something new? Why is Jagan going to reckon? What is Jagan going to reckon? What is Jagan going to concentrate? What is his plan for the future? He says he's going to change things, right? We don't know what's on the way, right? We'll find out things on chapter 7, and we'll understand, we'll try to figure out, right, these things as well, right?